All right, guys. So we got to talk about a base sheriff by the name of Mr. Billy Woods out of Maroon County, Florida, that went off on a couple of liberal reporters crying gun control in response to a triple homicide murder of teenagers in Maroon County. Now, this press conference comes as they just announced 2 arrests, okay, including one of the juveniles being a 12-year-old, okay, that committed this murder. Now, another one is still out at large, okay, but they're in the process of basically arresting and charging the suspects. Now, reporters asked questions about gun control during this press conference, and this sheriff was not having any of the gun control rhetoric that the Democrats love to spew in response to these tragedies. Take a look.
I know each of you in the media here and viewers out there probably heard us in law enforcement or even in community events talk about what is the problem. And I'm going to go ahead and address the first thing that I know it's going to come up. Because there are individuals out there viewing, and to include some of you media, that want to blame the one thing that has no ability or the capacity to commit the crime itself. And that's the gun. These individuals committed the crime.
Sheriff, you mentioned the gun. Do we know how the suspect got a hold of the weapon?
Car burglaries.
Car burglaries. Yeah. Ain't that right? All the gun laws we got in place didn't prevent it, did it? Neither will any new ones. Because here's the fact. The bad guy is going to get a gun no matter what law you have put in place. These juveniles shouldn't even possess a handgun. But they did. And I'll go back to you. Add your question. A simple burglary, as some people will say, but I don't consider anything simple when it comes to a burglary. The law allows me, I'll plaster their face up on this page, up on my page, up on media. I will hand it out if the law allows me, because parents have the right to know who their kids are hanging out with and preventing this.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best response I've ever seen when it comes to Democrats always crying about gun control and having more gun laws in response to some of these tragedies that happen. Because in that situation, the suspects who were juveniles who can't get access to guns anyways, are supposed to not be able to get access to guns, they obtained the guns through burglarizing cars, right? So going inside of cars and trying to find stuff, and they took a gun out of a law-abiding citizen's car. And somehow, some way, Democrats think that more gun laws is going to help prevent that, right? They think it's going to help prevent that. I'm not sure how that works. Again, unless you want to compensate and take everybody's guns, then, hey, maybe it will help. But even then, again, I think that the criminals are still going to be able to obtain the guns, right? I don't think that you're going to stop criminals from being able to get access to guns. You're just going to have the rest of society be defenseless and not able to defend themselves, right? But again, this is what Democrats want to do every single time there's a tragedy. They want to cry about gun control, right? The same thing they're doing right now, instead of talking about the real issue at hand, which is the individual that committed the act, okay? They don't want to talk about that, okay? It reminds me of what's going on with Nashville, Tennessee, and the rhetoric around the mass shooting that happened at the Christian school, where Christian kids were shot and killed by a lunatic mass shooter who just happened to be transgender, right? Because the shooter doesn't fit the narrative, all of a sudden, they don't want to talk about identity. Now, if he was white, straight white male specifically, they would be talking about identity all day. But because he's not, all they want to talk about is gun control, right? I mean, Kamala Harris, she just flew down to Nashville, Tennessee, not to visit the Christian parents, okay, who lost, their kids' lives, or the families of the adults that lost their lives. No. She actually went to support the 2 Democrats that got removed from the state legislature because they're insurrectionists, right? They staged an insurrection at the state capitol. and also to, again, call for more gun control. Take a look.
3 educators and 3 babies, 9 years old, were murdered senselessly due to gun violence. They chose to lead and show courage to say that a democracy allows for places where the people's voice will be heard and honored and respected. And they understood the importance, these 3, of standing to say that people will not be silenced, to say that a democracy hears the cries, hears the pleas, who hears the demands of its people.
Yeah, again, I just love how the party that set the precedent for having people removed from Congress, or potentially having them removed from Congress, or being punished or impeached for inciting an insurrection. I love how the people that set that precedent are complaining when the pendulum swings the other way, right? Absolutely love it. But what Kamala Harris is doing here is that she is doing basically what those liberal reporters were doing, which is that instead of talking about the actual suspect who picked up a gun and killed people, no. She wants to just say, well, it happened due to gun violence, right? It's the gun's fault. When it's not the gun's fault, the gun didn't shoot itself, right? The gun didn't pick itself up and walk itself into a Christian school and target Christian children and kids, right? You know, Kamala Harris didn't mention that. Didn't mention that they were Christian, right? I wonder why, right? Why did she mention that? Why did she mention that the shooter was transgender? Oh, they don't want to talk about that, right? Don't fit the narrative. Don't fit the narrative. Again, they want to talk about guns when really what they should be talking about is the individual. Okay, what made this individual do this? What led to this? Well, the truth is that this individual was radicalized. They were radicalized by the mainstream liberal media. They were radicalized by all the things they heard from Democrat politicians like Kamala Harris, where they tell these people that, hey, your life is in danger because the GOP is passing laws to protect biological women in sports, to not allow kids to castrate themselves physically or chemistry, or not allowing teachers to talk to kids about sex. That is putting your life in danger, right? That is putting your life in danger. And because of that, again, what we're starting to see is that a lot of these people are committing acts of violence because they think their lives are in danger, right? They think that their existence is being threatened by laws from the GOP. But Democrats don't want to have a conversation about that, though. They think that we're supposed to just forget about it, right? Until the next time something like this happens. And they still won't have a conversation about it. They'll say, well, it's the gun's fault. Well, was it the gun's fault when these radical activists basically chased, stalked, harassed, and attacked Riley Gaines for simply standing up for women's rights in sports? Right? Was it the gun's fault then that, again, that this individual likely would have been hurt seriously without the police being there? Was that the gun's fault? Because none of those radical activists had guns, right? None of those radical activists had guns. But they could have seriously hurt her. They could have killed her, right? Again, this is not a gun problem. We have a criminal problem. We have a radicalization problem. We have a left-wing supremacy problem. We have a woke extremism problem. That's what we have in this country. It's not a gun problem. We have an ideological problem. People being brainwashed into believing things that are simply not true. And that applies to so many things here. And that's what's causing this stuff to happen. But yeah, again, this is a conversation these people don't want to talk about. They don't want to have a conversation. They want to avoid it at all costs. While people lose their lives every single day to soft on crime criminal justice reform policies, and again, left-wing extremists being radicalized by the mainstream liberal media and the Democrat Party. But yeah, they want to lecture me on saving lives, right? You want to lecture me on saving lives, but you're not doing what you got to do to save lives. You're going to save more lives addressing those issues, being tough on crime, and stop radicalizing these people, okay, these so-called activists. If you do that, you're going to save much more lives than you would by being tougher on guns and more gun control. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.